Friends, I welcome you to my channel. Before listening to this story, I will ask you to like and subscribe. It is not difficult for you, but it is pleasant for me. And we're starting. Yes, that's it. The perfect evening. My legs are positioned above my hips, which, as everyone knows, is necessary for a serious party pose. Cold beer, strategically placed in my right hand. My ebook for reading is lying on the deck at my side, but it is turned off, as it should be at such a moment. No involvement is required now, either mentally or otherwise. Except for a small amount of beer, of course. This is a much-needed moment of calm. I just need to be. And most of all, to be alone. Loneliness is the only acceptable state in my current life. The sun is about to set. The colors are warm. The sea is absolutely calm. There is no wind and no sounds at all. This is as peaceful a state as it can be. The Halcyon, my sailing yacht, is anchored in a small bay off a Greek island. Well, not really an island. Rather, it is a large piece of rock. This rock has two main advantages: zero population and an excellent anchorage location. A small bay deep enough for my 15-meter yacht and well protected from the open sea. Anchoring the yacht was quite a difficult task since I was alone. I needed a second mooring point because the bay is too small to allow the yacht to turn freely. But manual labor was very welcome after a day of lazy sailing in the Aegean Sea. Now everything is ready, the beer is cool, and the silence is just perfect. Then my thoughts return to Julia. They always come back when I'm not busy with something. I always struggle with it, and the more I try, the more I fail. I rarely think about the good times we had because I have reason to doubt them too. I lived under the illusion that I was a lucky bastard. She seemed so in love too, and it's just a pity that there wasn't a camera to capture her playing. Oscar would have been secured. Anger starts to overwhelm me again. No, stop it, see. Look at the sun. Nicely. There are several pigeons here. Very interesting and underrated animals that are worth watching. Especially now. Relax. I suddenly decide that the mooring lines need to be checked again, even though I know they are perfect. I just need to keep my mind occupied before the damn thing comes back to her. To Julia. By the evening, I found out the truth. No. Stop it, damn, it's driving me crazy. On a sudden impulse, I jump into the sea, swimming a short distance. It helps me clear my mind. It keeps me from getting angry again, from falling into a boiling rage that made me avoid other people, especially women. I need to prevent my rage from spilling out on innocent bystanders, as it has often happened in recent months. It was my sister Annette who told me that I was a ticking time bomb. She was right, of course. She's always right. That's why I decided to live as a hermit. It's the best solution for everyone. But instead of living in a damp, dirty cave where I would never see sunlight, I bought a luxury sailing yacht. I may be disappointed in humanity, but I'm not stupid. I climb back on the yacht and decide to take up cooking. Julia never cooked when we wanted to eat at home. That was my task. Yes, a lot of things were my task if you think about it. This fool, no. Stop. I take the eggs and mushrooms and start cooking the omelet. I'm not really hungry. I just need some specific task to keep me occupied. I admire the silence and solitude of this place again. It's really my favorite place in the world right now, and I'm just happy that it's public property and everyone can stay here whenever they want. I have rarely seen other boats here, which makes this place even better. I'm sitting on my deck and enjoying a simple meal in complete silence. The absolute absence of sounds is almost deafening now, as it usually happens in the evenings when the wind subsides. Fine. I love it when the rocks are illuminated by the reddish-yellow last rays of the sun. This is nothing short of an exciting sight. The silence is broken by the noise of the engine. At first, I think it's a fishing boat on its way home, but the noise is getting louder. Finally, I see a huge white motor yacht emerging from behind the island. Damn. My quiet, lonely night has already become history. It will be filled with loud and rude partygoers, and now it's too late and too dark to go to another island. Damn. The closer you get, the bigger and uglier this thing seems. Now you can hear loud techno music. It will just be wonderful. The yacht approaches my position until its bow is only 5 meters away from me. This is no longer a respectful distance. A man in a black suit appears on the bow of the yacht, which looks completely out of place in the Aegean Sea. He calls out to me. Hey buddy, listen, this is Fulvio Brioni's yacht. You know him, he's the king of fashion. He has to shout to be heard over the loud music. I'm just nodding. I have no idea why he's telling me this, and I'm not going to find out. So be a good little jerk and get your tiny boat out of here. We need this place to dock and we need privacy. I just laugh briefly and shake my head. Listen, we want to deal with this in a friendly way, but this is the place of Mr. Brion's dock where you are. This is public property. I came here first, so this is my mooring place. You'll just have to drop anchor over there, or anywhere else. It's none of my business. Boy, I'm starting to get a little angry. I just shrug my shoulders. His strategy seems to be to try to piss me off, whatever he hopes to achieve by doing so. It's not going to work anyway. I don't care about that clown. He goes astern. I focus on my beer again until he comes back a few minutes later. How about €1,000 for you if you move? These guys are really funny. Keep the change. You idiot. I'm just dismissively brushing him off. He disappears again. After a while, the ship moves back to the second best place to anchor, which is almost in the open sea. They anchor their ship about 30 meters from mine, which is too close for my taste, but there's nothing I can do about it. I try not to get mad, deciding to consider all this a free show for my entertainment. The ship is illuminated as brightly as a circus, and some of the people on its deck can only be described as bizarre. Superbly dressed men, walking around like complete idiots. All women wear high heels and black bikinis. I wonder what kind of deck they have. I definitely wouldn't tolerate high heels on my teak deck, but it seems they are mandatory on board this ship, as is the general behavior. Men are busy finding themselves amazing. Women are present for decoration. I'm amazed at how idiotic these people are and how cool they find themselves. They probably don't think too much of me either. It's like we're from different planets. Besides peacocks and girls in bikinis, there are several guys in black suits on board, obviously bodyguards. Then there are people in white uniforms, probably crew members. Girls in bikinis seem to be models. Some of them are just slim, while others are extremely thin. It's like watching a conference about malnutrition. My first impulse is to help these poor hungry girls, to feed them. From time to time, one of them looks down at me when I'm relaxing on my boat, and I realize how far we are from each other. They, in their glittering fashion world, are probably struggling to make a living by turning up their noses. Perhaps they consider themselves successful and extremely important to humanity. I, on the other hand, am just a lonely, ordinary guy with a beer in his hand. I'm definitely not a happy person, but I think my life is much better than theirs anyway. I wonder what the women on this ship think. Maybe they plan to hook up with a rich guy to gain wealth and social status by marrying him before they become too old for their job in adulthood, perhaps at 22. I realize that I have no idea about their world. How long can the models work? 20, 30, 40? I have no idea. I think again about Julia and her attempt to get rich by marrying and divorcing some unsuspecting rich man, namely me. She completely fooled me. I really loved her, and finding out the true nature of our relationship and losing her hurt me a lot. And it still hurts. My whole life still revolves around her, but in a completely negative way. Some screams on the deck of a large yacht bring my attention back to the present. One of the women appears to be arguing with a small group of men, one of whom is Brion himself. He's easy to recognize because he's the only obese person on board. One of his bodyguards is next to him, and for a moment it looks like he wants to hit her. It looks almost comical when all their heads turn in my direction at the same time. Whatever they plan to do to her, they suddenly realize that they have a witness. I just smile and raise my beer in greeting. The fat man and the bodyguard drag her inside to get some privacy. Whatever they're planning for her, it doesn't look too good from here. She seems to have come to the same conclusion and is fighting them with all her might. The other girls and several men are watching this scene without any reaction. Their lack of compassion amazes me. She's on their boat. There's no police around. She's completely at their mercy. But no one feels obligated to help her. Suddenly she breaks free and runs to the nose. Brion and his thug grin and slowly follow her. They know she has nowhere to run. She belongs to them. This is their ship. They are stronger. They are rich and powerful. They can definitely ruin her career. They are advancing on her like predators, approaching for an easy kill. Watching this situation makes me feel sick. This is wrong. I really want to intervene in some way, but I have no idea how to do it. The girl looks around in panic and shouts something to the other passengers, but these jerks just turn away and look away. The moment I decide to get the camera, the girl suddenly jumps overboard. It surprises everyone, including me. The drop is quite high, but she jumps gracefully, looking fantastic in her high heels. It's a brave thing to do, but it won't help her. She has nowhere to go. At least that's what I think, until I realize that she's floating in my direction. She still looks graceful, but I can't enjoy the sight anymore. She's going to invade my personal space. What can I do? Send her back to those libertines? Will I be better than them? No, that's not an option. I won't be able to live with myself after this. The alternative is to take her in, sacrifice my precious solitude. Worse, I'd have to be with a woman, something I swore I'd never do again. Damn it. Just what I need right now is a woman next to me. Not just a woman, but a model. Maybe a spoiled bitchy bitch, constantly whining and complaining, living her bulimia to the fullest. I can almost hear her. I can't eat a salad like this, it's not even organic. Do you have decent Evian water instead of this San Pellegrino urine? I need my avocado in the morning. Why don't you have the essentials on this cartoon ship? Is there really no place in the world without women? Maybe a monastery? Would I be useful in Gregorian singing? Are these monk guys really eunuchs or do they just look like that? She's still swimming towards me. Damn, the girl is in trouble. A possible female company. I'm panicking. It's too late to weigh anchor and I'm unlikely to be able to refuse her if she wants to come aboard. Damn, it looks like she was going to be raped on the ship. Okay, I can take her to the nearest port tomorrow. She had just reached the ladder at the stern. I'll help her, but that doesn't mean I have to talk to her a lot. Women don't suit me. I need to stay away from them. I firmly decided that never again would any of them offend me. I need to keep my distance from her. This decision helps me calm down a bit. I'm not going to spend months trying to regain my mental balance only to have it destroyed by another fool. She looks at me questioningly, and I just reach out to help her out of the water. You don't have to say a word, which suits me fine. I may have a guest for a limited time, but I'm definitely not going to chat about it all day. The situation is clear enough. She knows that I witnessed the scene on Brionne's ship, and my outstretched hand should tell her that I am ready to help. Wait, is she still wearing high heels and is she going to step on my teak deck? I just point at her shoes and she immediately understands everything. Oh, of course, I'm sorry. She starts to take them off. By the way, my name is Anna. Mark. Damn, just a few seconds in the company of women, and I'm already babbling like an idiot. She holds out her hand again. Our first handshake doesn't seem to count, as I only helped her on board. I understand what she means and shake her hand. This is a combined greeting and gratitude. She gets up and looks around, taking her time. Obviously, she is not so much looking around her new surroundings as giving me the opportunity to take a look at my new guest. Maybe she just wants to give me time to get used to her after I opened my house for her, not quite voluntarily. I think it's a delicate gesture after she forced herself on me like that. I wonder what a woman with a sensitive vein in her body was doing aboard this asshole's ship? I don't need to listen to this story, but I'm afraid sooner or later, I'm going to do it anyway. My new guest is a strikingly beautiful woman, as you would expect for one of Brionne's toys. However, she's not as young as I assumed. She's probably about 25 years old, which means she's only a few years younger than me. Anna does not look like an attractive girl from the next street. She's not pretty. She's not pretty. She's downright beautiful. There's no point in denying it. If I had only seen her picture, I would have immediately decided that she was an arrogant and self-centered bitch. She just has to be like that, with that face. Well-defined jaw and cheekbones, perfect green eyes, and a perfect straight nose. Not a cute nose, but a thin, perfect model nose. She's a little thin, but she doesn't look hungry like some of the other girls. Her bones don't stick out, and she has a small but toned chest. Her hair is still wet and already quite dark, so I can't tell what color it is. But they are long, very long. I thought Julia was beautiful and I couldn't handle it. But compared to Anna, she is simple and unremarkable. This woman is so out of my league that it's not even funny anymore. A few years ago, the sight of this jackpot in the lottery of the human genome would have excited me to the limit. But I decided to keep women out of my life, and I think I've prepared myself quite carefully. Of course, considering that Julia's malice is a great motivation, I can appreciate the beauty of this woman, as I would appreciate a butterfly or a flower, but she does not affect me. At least that's what I keep telling myself. After giving me a few seconds to examine her, she looks at me again. Thank you for helping me. She looks a little insecure, almost shy, which for some reason surprises me. Women who look like her shouldn't be shy. I expect them to just take what they need and move on. But I understand that she really needs me, and a lot depends on my reaction. I mutter, nodding. I want to make it clear from the very beginning that talking is not part of my plans. She looks at me in a puzzled way, shrugs and takes the towel I offer her. After a while, she smiles and probably signs me up for grumpy sea dogs, which suits me fine, since it's not far from the truth. I look back at the grotesquely lit ship and see Brion discussing something with two of his bodyguards. He looks quite animated, and from time to time, he points towards my boat. Is he thinking about boarding my yacht to get the girl back? Piracy in Greek waters will cause more trouble than even a man like Brion would like, especially because of the woman he can easily replace. Perhaps he is one of those people who can't stand defeat in anything, up to the game of rock, paper, scissors. But what do I know? Don't be too nosy, old man, or you might get caught up in this more than you want to. Just keep these weirdos out of your life. I turn around and see her watching the same scene, looking worried. She doesn't look arrogant right now. I hope that fat bastard doesn't send his gorillas to kidnap me. I say in a dismissive tone, shaking my head. He could, you know. He has 4 guard monkeys that he could send after me. Can we just sail away? Tomorrow. I try to speak abruptly to keep my distance. Good. I can't say that I'm going to sleep well. I'm still a little worried. Thanks again for saving me. They were just about to rape me. She doesn't seem to be bothered by my short answers at all, but what she says surprises me. Are they? I ask before I can stop myself. Damn it, stop it. It's none of my business. Yes, Brion, his male guests, his bodyguards, and the entire men's team. It seems he made a bet that he and all the other men on the ship would use every girl at least once before the ship returned to Italy. All the other girls didn't want it, but they let them do it anyway. All of a sudden, I just couldn't take it anymore. Suddenly, I do not know, something broke inside me. I've endured a lot for very little gain, but today it's become too much. Damn it. Yes, I said no to Fulvio Brioni, and because of one little dive, my career went down the drain. This part of my life is already in the past. She looks a little shocked by her insight. I just nod and make some kind of grunt that may or may not seem sympathetic. In order to look so beautiful, this fashion business is complete crap. Yes, you're right, she continued, despite the fact that I didn't say anything. Maybe it's even better this way. There's nothing I can do about it now, right? Leave the old shit behind. Try something new. New opportunities will appear. Life is about change. She looks surprisingly cheerful again. How could she just dismiss something that had completely ruined the life she considered her own? I wish I could. Or not. Are you hungry? Really? I'm always hungry. It's part of my job. I've been starving for 10 years now. She laughs. It's magical. Damn, what a woman. No, stop it, you fool. Okay, just stop it. To distract myself, I go below deck to get some of my omelet for her. She follows me and looks around. I silently hand her the omelet plate. It's surprisingly difficult to maintain your grumpy mood while she's around, but it needs to be done. There's no point in allowing yourself to be liked by this woman. I'm sure nothing good will come of it. Oh yes, it looks amazing. Thank you. Do you live here alone? I nod, desperately trying to limit my communication with this woman to the absolute minimum so as not to get infected by her cheerfulness. Do you have any clothes I can borrow? I didn't have time to pack my things. The smile returned. She's still fabulous. I nod and go to my aft cabin to get her some sweaters. I don't know how long I can stay grumpy in the face of that smile. Take one of the forward cabins. I'm handing her the clothes. Thanks. Are they all free? I nod again. Why does a man like you live all alone? How do you manage to keep women at a distance? What? The complete shock on my face causes that musical laugh again. Then she took pity on my confusion. It doesn't matter. I'll change my clothes. It's getting a little chilly in this wet bikini. There's a lot more warmth in that smile than an arrogant model should have when she turns and walks forward. I look after her. She's as gorgeous from the back as she is from the front. I shake my head and try to figure out what she was talking about. Julia has told me over and over again over the years that I am just a guy. Completely ordinary. There is nothing special or attractive about me. I was lucky to have her, she told me, and I believed her. Now this incredibly beautiful woman, a real model no less, asked me how I restrain women. I decided that I had some time while she was changing and tried to figure it out. 2 minutes later, she walks over to me, and my old worn sweatpants look better than they have a right to. Of course, she's a model. Therefore, she must change clothes quickly and look good in everything. However, my only comparison is Julia, who can take half an hour to change her shoes. I could get used to a woman dressing quickly, I thought, grinning slightly. Hey, you can have a friendly face. I think you're not as grumpy as you're trying to sound. I'm desperately trying not to smile back at her. It works, sort of. Her hair is drying and it becomes obvious that she is a brunette. It doesn't matter, she looks good with any hair color. Damn it, stop it, Mark. It will only bring you trouble and heartache. Do you mind if I stay below deck? I don't want to remind Fulvio that I'm here. I say in an affirmative tone. My attempts to remain monosyllabic are starting to seem ridiculous even to me. Good. See you tomorrow. Do you mind if I borrow your ebook reader? I nod again and retreat to the safety of my hut, relieved to be alone again. Early morning on deck. I always grumble in the morning. A cup of coffee, which is my only companion, doesn't mind. I could stay in bed, but then I'd just lie there and think about Julia. This is not good. I'm thinking about her anyway, so I guess it doesn't matter. She hated my morning grumbles. Now that she's not here to grumble at me, I've started to like this mood. I can sulk as much as I want about how life, really Julia, has treated me, and there's no one to stop me. The noise and commotion in Briona's floating brothel finally stopped around 4 in the morning. Now it looks and sounds like a ghost ship. I bet they won't get up until noon. Fine. I hear shuffling under the deck. My uninvited guest seems determined to break out of the mental box of the model that I created for her. She's over 20, she doesn't have bulimia, she's not arrogant or bitchy, even when I'm almost rude to her, and now she gets up early. What's next? Is she a certified diesel mechanic? Good morning. Her head appears from the hatch. Good morning. I'm sure my grumpy mood is obvious. Coffee. In the galley. She disappears through the hatch. She seems to be as sharp as I am in the morning, although she looks much nicer. I turn around to look at the sea. On the smooth surface of the bay, the images of Julia and her lover are painted, intimately connected, grinning at me. Damn. I hear my uninvited guest coming up on deck. Now that she's had her coffee, she's going to be cheerful and happy and want to talk about things that either I don't care about or I don't want to talk about. And she will smile with her beautiful model smile. Don't forget about it. Damn. I don't want anyone cheering me on. I want to mope. Alone. Don't I have the right to do that? Anna, I remember her name now, surprises me again. She doesn't say a word. She sits on the deck next to me and looks out at the calm sea. The air is still fresh and crisp, and the intense Greek sun has not yet begun to scorch everything around. It's strange. Now I see only the sea. Julia disappeared. There was silence between us. So what did we agree on? Suddenly she asks. Agreed? You saved me. What should I do? She looks a little tense, as if expecting bad news and not wanting to hear it. Did everyone who helped you in the past want to get something in return? Damn, I didn't want to say so much, and I definitely don't need to find out anything about her past. But her question surprised me. Yes, quite a lot. Well, then your life must be pretty shitty. Yes, that's right. For any woman as beautiful as she is, men line up to beg for a favor. That's right. I look at her. She is serious. Her beautiful face looks completely unhappy. I turn away, not knowing what to say. This silence is uncomfortable. It occurs to me that getting out of here before Brion and his party mates wake up is a sound idea. Is there anything on that ship that you need? I'm surprised at how gently I ask her. No, she says it firmly, as if she renounces her high-fashion life and everything connected with it. I nod and get ready to sail. I hope she won't follow me around and try to help me. But she doesn't do that. She stands at the rail and silently looks out at the sea. Is it just her character? Or did she guess that this is what I would like? Anyway, she seems to know me much better than I can imagine. I stack our coffee cups in the galley and get to work. I wind up and stack the mooring lines. Fortunately, I can do this without using a dinghy. Dragging the anchor with the winch motor will take some time and will be noisy, but there is nothing I can do about it. Anna looks anxiously towards the floating brothel as the noise increases. There is little wind, so I start the diesel engine. I'd like to put some distance between me and Brion in case the anchor winch wakes someone up at the brothel. Halcyon has a good move if needed, but I'd rather just disappear. I can almost see the tension leaving Anna as Brioni's yacht gets smaller and finally disappears from sight. She looks even more beautiful, which I never expected. She sits next to me, quiet and happy, while I'm at the helm. When Briona was out of sight, I got tired of the noise of the diesel engine. I set the sails and turn off the engine. Ah, blessed silence. Only the wind, waves, and sails are heard. I take down the sails and return to the helm. A friendly silence reigns between us again. I look at her from time to time. She sits quietly, looking at the sea. Without Brione, she looks relaxed and serene. She doesn't seem to care about anything in the world. It's weird, I think. She doesn't look like a woman who has just given up a career that most girls would kill for. If Julia had done it, not that she would have done it, but if she had, serenity is exactly what she wouldn't be. Nervous, shrill, demanding, yes. Quiet, no. If only, what if this Anna thinks of me the same way Julia does? What if she decided that since I let her come on board, I had to be the sucker who would keep her in the style she was used to? Maybe that's why she doesn't care about anything? Oh shit, I thought, it's starting again. Henry Higgins was right. Let a woman into your life and your peace of mind is over. I'm done with this forever. I looked at her. She turned her face away from me, looking over the harbor railing at the sunlit ocean. She looks completely innocent. Of course, I remind myself, she's a model. A former model, that is. They can look like anything. I look up to check the sails, then to starboard. What did she do to you? My reverie is broken. Wait, how does she know that? I stare at her blankly. Well? Damn, it had been almost a perfect morning and now she had to ruin it. Nothing. I'm just a guy. Of course. A handsome guy, obviously well off, sailing alone on a magnificent yacht and trying to cover up the fact that he is good by being grumpy. What, handsome? I found the first flaw in her. She definitely needs glasses. You need to talk about it sometime. We're alone here and I'm a good listener, but I don't want to push. Thanks. Damn. Am I really that obvious? Yes, it is. I toss my head and she just giggles. I can't help but smile. Damn, it's not very good to hold the line. Okay. I bite. What am I going to say next? She blushes a little. I do not know what you will say. I know you're trying to keep your distance in silence. She takes a deep breath and looks into my eyes. There is determination on her face, although I think I see sympathy in her eyes. Or is it just my imagination? You've been hurt, and badly. Your reaction is to curl up and keep everyone at a distance because you're afraid you're going to get hurt again. It's normal. It's natural. Even animals do that. However, sooner or later you have to turn around and start moving again. You walk and talk, but you're still afraid of being hurt, especially by women. I understand that. But you decided to isolate yourself from all of humanity, having only your pain in the company. You don't see that every time you decide to think about your wounds instead of other things or other people, you let her hurt you again. Your pain is getting worse, not better. You don't even get any sympathy because you cut yourself off and no one can see you. I imagined myself suffering in noble solitude, isolated so that no one, no woman could ever do to me what Julia had done. What if I'm just sulking? I decide to tell her the gist of the matter. Maybe she'll shut up and I can think, or sulk or whatever. Okay, I was married to a woman who has been my best friend since childhood, but everything collapsed and burned down. Did she cheat? Yes, and in the end, she only wanted my money, so you can see why I'm a little skittish, especially when it comes to women. Now that should hold her up for a while, but this is not the case. I'm sorry, I thought it must be something like this, but now you're letting her keep hurting you and taking you away from happiness. It's a shame that you give her such power over yourself. Look, you're going to have to talk about this sometime. You can't just lock it all in, it's not good for you. And who better to talk to than someone you'll never see again? I look at her in surprise. It looks like she's not going to play with me after all. Don't worry. I already know that you plan to get rid of me at the next port. So with me, your secrets are safe. She paused. Will it help you if I tell you my story? I thought for a moment. If she's telling me her story, it means she's not asking about mine or trying to get me through Julia's pain. It scares me. What if she had it worse than me and she handled it better? Then I will have to open up to this beautiful stranger, whose world is completely different from mine. What will happen to me then? She interrupts my thoughts. So there's silence again? She has such an infectious smile, like a naughty girl. I'm about to smile back at her, but I stop myself. No attachments, I remind myself. Don't let her take over you. It's too late, she still grins. Damn, she caught me again. I'd better take care of myself next to this woman. Her smile slowly disappears, and her gaze turns to the distant horizon. She speaks in a flat, monotone voice as if she is reciting. I grew up in a small town where everyone knew me. Other children were smarter or more talented, but it was expected of me that I would go out into the big world and achieve something. To become famous, you know. When the only thing you can do is look beautiful, it means being a model. I soon discovered that I was at the bottom of the food chain. It's not like being a princess in my small town. For the first time in my life, I was told that I wasn't good enough. Over and over again, and in the most rude and insulting terms. She turned to me, her eyes pleading for understanding. Mark, when you do something, a project, a report, or something else, and they tell you that it's not good enough, it's pretty bad. When they tell you that it's you, yourself, not good enough, viciously, over and over again, it really does something to you. She paused and turned back to the horizon. Like many models, in order to protect myself, I began to think of my body as something that is not really a part of me. It was almost like a toolbox or a skill set. I did everything I could to keep it going. I trained, I ate right, that kind of thing. But still, I wasn't good enough. I was never chosen. Then I noticed that the directors chose girls they already knew. Girls who hung out with them or with someone else higher up the food chain. Hanging out, of course, was a euphemism for making love. It didn't matter if the director was a man or a woman, it seemed like this was what you had to do. I resisted for a while, but the pressure due to lack of work was too strong and I gave up. It wasn't that bad. Most of them were attentive, even sweet. I've already gotten used to thinking of my body as separate from myself. I just used it to get a job, and I also used it at work. I started getting some work. Everyone in my small town was overjoyed every time they saw me in some catalog or advertisement. It seemed that I carried the hopes and dreams of the whole town, so I kept doing it, even though I knew I'd never reach the top, and I was starting to hate my life. I knew several girls who were in difficult relationships, and I began to understand them better. She sighs. I'm not sure what exactly made me change my mind. I had already been on Brion cruises and knew what was expected of me. For some reason, whether it was a bet or a gangbang, I had had enough. I hid in my cabin until the thugs dragged me out, and you saw what happened after that. She stops and looks at me. They never thought that I would have the courage to jump. I probably wouldn't have jumped, but your boat was there, and I heard you confronting them earlier in the day. I was terribly afraid last night that Brion would send his thugs after me. Trust me, this was the case when I was glad to be just another replaceable beauty. I wonder if I ruined their bet. The corners of her mouth turn up when she imagines it. I smile back to cheer her up. I still can't get used to the idea that someone might think she's just another pretty face. Now I'm done. It's over. The village will have to find someone else who will become a celebrity for them. So what if I don't have a job and money? I've been there before and survived. I will never sell my body again, and I will not let people tell me that I am not good enough. I do not know what will happen next, but whatever it is, I know it will be better because I am free. She smiles at me. I thought she couldn't look more beautiful, but I was wrong again. The animation on her face makes her radiant. So now you think I'm a fool? She's still smiling, and her eyes are sparkling like stars. What the hell am I supposed to say to that? Fortunately for me, she's probably used to men losing their coherent speech when she gives them top-notch treatment. I mumble something about choice, honesty, and so on, which I'm sure doesn't make sense until she saves me. You know, in a way, I'm a virgin. My mouth opens and she laughs again. I was right. I can definitely get used to hearing that laugh. Do you remember I told you that I began to think about my body separately from my heart? The real me. So yes, men and women used my body, and yes, sometimes I liked it, but I never made love. I've never shared my heart. She looks at me seriously for a moment and continues. All I've ever really wanted is what my mother has. A quiet life with a good man and a home full of love. I've lost my way for a few years, but I can't do it anymore. Then the smile returns. She is so determined and optimistic that I feel weak and whiny compared to her. I apologize to go downstairs where she won't be able to see my feelings, and return with 2 glasses of chilled Sauvignon Blanc. We raise a toast to her future, and I suddenly realize that not only her face and body are irresistible, but also herself. I decide to tell her my story so that I don't have to think about her. Yes, I still want to hear your story. The same smile. Am I really that transparent? Yes, it is, but I still want you to tell me the story. Damn, how does she do that? Well, okay, we'll find out something else later. I'm starting. I met Julia on the first day of school. She was a cute little thing, and a couple of bullies were pulling her pigtails, and I made them stop. Since then, I've been her protector. She helped me with my homework and didn't let me be stupid. My family had money, and hers didn't. But it doesn't matter when you're 6 years old. We were inseparable. Then she grew into a beautiful and popular girl, and she no longer wanted me to fight with boys. She had other things to do. We were still friends, but everyone, including my mother, told me that she was too much for me. I was just too ugly. Your mother? There was horror in her voice. It's pretty cruel, not to mention that this is completely wrong. Maybe, but I still have problems with it even today. Your mom needed glasses, otherwise she was drunk. She confused you with those two guys. Hey, don't talk about my mother like that, I frowned. For a moment, Anna thinks I'm being serious, but then she bursts out laughing. I smile at her and then continue my story. We studied at the same university. She contacted me and wanted to talk. She had a bad experience with arrogant assholes, as she called them, and she remembered how safe she felt with me in elementary school. She hinted that I might have a chance with her eventually. Of course, I did not fail to take advantage of this, and before I knew it, I proposed, she agreed, and we got married. I was the happiest guy in the world until I came home and found her in our bed with another guy. I didn't even confront them. I just locked myself in my office and licked my wounds. She nods, as if she expected me to do exactly that. She cried a lot, asked for forgiveness, and promised to be completely faithful, never to do this again. I resisted for a while, but I really wanted to get her back, so I agreed. So, you've forgiven her? I nodded. I think I would forgive one mistake, but she clearly did not keep her promise. Anna looks thoughtful for a moment. Did she have money when you got married? Well, no, but what? You said she was after your money when you were getting divorced. I'm just guessing, but what if she thought that because you have money, you have power in a relationship? What if it made her feel insecure? I loved her. I did everything I could for her. Why should she feel insecure? Maybe addicted is a more appropriate word. Anyway, I wonder if her cheating was an attempt, consciously or unconsciously, to even the scales. Perhaps to appropriate some of the power and make you dependent on it. What, now you're justifying her? To tell the truth, I started to get a little mad at her. No, not that. I don't think there are any excuses for breaking such promises, at least not the real ones. I'm thinking about you. You're stuck in this lonely, isolated place. You're not in pain, but you're also not happy. And you won't be happy until you start living again. To do this, you need to at least understand a little bit why she was so cruel to you. How do you know all this? I'm trying to be sarcastic, but she doesn't take it. She looks at the horizon again. I don't know. I guess I just know. She smiles a bitter smile, then turns back to me. Go on. What happened next? I take a deep breath and tell her how my world ended. It looks like a cliché, I'm almost ashamed to tell you. It was a snooker night with my buddies, but the power went out in the billiard room. They wanted to go out for a drink, but I decided that spending time at home with my wife would be more fun. I returned home and found candles burning in our apartment and soft music playing. You know, it was one of our special pastimes. Probably one of my friends warned Julia that I would come home early. I went into the candlelight, into our big tub. She was there, fine with that happy expression on her face, exchanging kisses and soap bubbles with some guy. I stood and looked at them, thinking how to get their attention. All I could think of was to clear my throat. That's the end of the cliché. They both turned to look at me, but neither of them looked upset. They were both smiling at me. A soapy man's hand reached out to me and the guy said, "Hi, I'm Andy. It's nice to finally meet you." When the foam subsided, I saw that he was hugging my wife. They were hugging each other. And then it dawned on me what I really see. The end of my marriage. The end of the love of my life. I just stood there feeling shocked, desperately trying not to burst into tears like a child. Both lovers looked at me with comfortable sympathy. I think the water in the bathroom hasn't had time to cool down yet. Mark, don't take it so personally. It's not a big deal. I still love you as always. It doesn't threaten you or our marriage. Nothing needs to be changed. She could have spoken Icelandic if it wasn't for the meaning she carried. Are you saying that you plan to continue this? Of course, Mark. I love you both. I'm sorry you found out about it this way, but it had to happen anyway, so maybe it's for the best. I'm glad you met Andy. I think you'll like him." I had no idea what to say, so I just stood there. Mistaking my stunned silence for approval, Julia smiled and continued. "You see, Mark, I discovered that I love two men. Andy has already accepted it, and I know you will too when you see how happy we all are. You're my husband, so of course I'll be with you most of the time. Although now that you know, I'll be spending a few evenings with Andy. I'll do it when you're out with your buddies. You won't even miss me. Of course, when we decide to start a family, he will have to wear a condom so that we know that the children are yours, right, Andy?" Andy nodded enthusiastically. "You see, Mark, our marriage will be stronger, and everything will turn out well." "What about your promise to be faithful?" "Oh, that. Well, I guess I was a little hasty. Besides, I haven't met Andy yet." "Does that justify breaking your promise?" "Oh, Mark, don't be so melodramatic. Think about it. Andy and I have been dating for over 2 months now. Have you become less fond of me? Less affection or less love? No, since I've been dating Andy, making love has gotten better for you, and you know it. He's no match for you, Mark. You see, Andy is an artistic type, unpredictable, spontaneous, the exact opposite of you. You are the best lover because you know me so well, but I also enjoy him because he surprises me. I love you, Mark. You won't lose me. It shouldn't be a big problem if you don't create it yourself." She had an affair for 2 months, and I didn't even know about it. She wasn't sorry. She just demanded that I put up with it. Her promise to be faithful was worthless. I could feel the pain starting to penetrate my heart as I looked at my smiling wife and her lover. What if I don't agree? She was still smiling, but now there was a challenge in her smile. "I don't want to tell you this, Mark, because I love you and I hope it never happens. But you need to know. If you divorce me because of this, I have to protect us. Andy and me, you know. I'll make sure to get at least half of everything you have. I don't want it, but I'll do it if I have to. Mark, don't look so sad. Remember that I've loved you since I was 6 years old. The choice shouldn't be that hard. Continue to enjoy everything you have now, including your loving wife, or lose me, your house, and half of everything you have." She and her lover smiled at me with their warmest smiles, inviting me to accept my betrayal at their hands. I'm sure I had the same dumb expression on my face as a cartoon character when he gets hit on the head with a brick. Andy had to put his paddle back in. "Hey, Mark, your name is Mark, isn't it? Why don't you stay and join us?" "Oh, that's a great idea." Julia got excited before I could say anything. "Come on, Mark, don't be such a spoilsport. It's going to be fun, you'll see." She took a handful of dirt and blew it on me, and then sweetly kissed Andy on the nose. "I've had enough." I turned around and left. I could hear them talking softly to each other, occasionally giggling. I didn't know I'd said something funny, but you never know. I packed a small overnight bag and left. I paused. I got so carried away with the story that I forgot that Anna was even here, but she was right. I need it. I rented a hotel room and did about what I should have expected. I cried, cursed, punched the mattress, and eventually fell asleep in an armchair with my clothes on. None of this has changed. But when I woke up, something had changed. Julia was no longer the little girl I protected, nor the wife I loved. Now she has become my enemy. The only thing I cared about was protecting my assets from her and my lover. Not that I needed the money, but paying her to use me was basically wrong. I had one great advantage that my dear wife did not know about. My wealth at that time was not mine. I was living off a trust fund set up by my crafty grandfather. He had a dark humor, and in general, he deeply distrusted women. He decided that I would receive a substantial monthly allowance until, at the age of 40 or after my first divorce, the entire fortune would become my property. He said that in both cases, by that time, I would already know life. Legally, I had almost no assets at the time Julia destroyed our marriage. Ironically, our divorce was supposed to make me rich. I immediately visited my family lawyer, who assured me that the worst thing that can happen is small alimony for a limited time. I really didn't want to give her a single euro, but it was a decision I could at least accept. He settled all the details, made sure Julia couldn't run away, and filed for divorce. He said things would start to get interesting in a couple of weeks when she realized the new situation. In the meantime, I rented a nice apartment and moved there what little I wanted from the old one. Julia didn't try to contact me for a whole week, and then she just wrote a message asking if I had coped with my grievances and was ready to return home. I didn't answer. For someone who loved me so much, she didn't seem to miss me. My lawyer was right. 2 weeks after our meeting, a flurry of texts and messages began. Her lawyer must have told her that she wouldn't be as rich as she thought. At first, she wrote that if I returned home, I would see how much she would love me and how much stronger our marriage would be. Then she told me that it was all just a big misunderstanding, and she was sure that we could fix it. Finally, she just texted me that I should be manly. After all, Andy accepted it, why can't I? Suddenly, everything stopped, and after a couple of days, her lawyer prepared a post-nuptial agreement, under which she received $20,000 per month for life if we divorced, and said that I signed it. It was stupid because after the handwriting experts had done their job, Julia's credibility was practically zero. Then they tried to accuse me of domestic violence, but they couldn't provide any evidence. In the end, they decided not to dig themselves an even bigger hole and agreed to what we offered, which now amounted to $2,000 a month for a year and good bills from her lawyer. I won. But I also felt like shit and ran away like a rabbit when a woman approached me. That's why I became a hermit. I'm silent. The only sounds are the wind in the rigging and the waves under the bow. Anna doesn't say anything. I look at her. Tears are streaming down her face. You know what? She's still beautiful. I'm so sorry, Mark. It's horrible. I understand why you're in so much pain. The funny thing is, after I told her this story, it didn't hurt so much. I wouldn't have guessed. But Mark, you can't go on like this. Don't you see? She's not worth giving up your life for. She never cared about your happiness, and now you're letting her make you unhappy. She spoke with strength, determination written all over her face, even as the tears dry on her cheeks. Mark, you have to live. If you don't, you're going to let her kill you. I'm startled. It's pretty radical, but I can tell she means every word. She lets me think about it for a while before she bursts into my thoughts. So, you're a hermit? That quirky, teasing smile appeared on her face again, and there was a sparkle in her eyes again. Yes, probably. Yesterday I would have been proud to say that. Now I'm not so sure. Your place is much better than those hairy, bearded guys? Fortunately, yes. Promise me you'll leave him soon. You need to start living again, Mark. Her voice is soft and warm. I look into her eyes and see that she cares. A lump forms in my throat, and all I can do is nod. She pulls away from the moment. Okay, she says. Now that everything's settled, maybe I can get some sun. Her smile, at the same time, impudence me and invites me to watch her as she gracefully gets up and goes to the nose. Did people really tell this girl that she wasn't pretty enough? That's right. I accept her invitation and enjoy the view as she stops right in front of the mast, rolls my sweatpants into a pillow and lays down on the deck. There's certainly nothing else to look at as closely as she does, and I'm sure she knows that, despite how sweet she is. Her loose, long hair flutters and catches the breeze. She looks perfect enough for a magazine cover, even when there's no one to take a picture. But that's not all. She is kind. People don't understand how important ordinary kindness is, but it's not ordinary. She's empathetic. She cried when I told her about Julia, and for some reason it didn't hurt so much. Is she a telepath? I hope not, but for someone who met me less than 24 hours ago, she knows me and my thoughts damn well. But is she right about me? Should I give up my isolation? I know I can't go through what Julia did to me again. I would have died. But if I'm already letting Julia slowly kill me, like Anna said, then what's the difference? I'm still looking at her, thinking, what about her? She left her old life behind, just like me, albeit in a slightly more dramatic way. Where I hide from the world, afraid of getting hurt, she seems eager to go outside and move on with her life, without even imagining what it might be. Moreover, her attitude is contagious. Just being with her makes me less afraid to live again. I almost feel that with her I can... No, she's clearly not in my league. Maybe there is a girl somewhere who looks like Anna, but not so gorgeous that I could build a life with. My imagination wanders freely, while my eyes are mesmerized by the slow rise and fall of Anna's smooth belly and her high, round breasts, almost completely exposed by tiny scraps of black fabric. Mark. Oh shit, she caught my eye. I thought she wouldn't be able to see me because of the sunglasses. Maybe models can always determine, I do not know. Where are we going? She asks this question as if she really doesn't care. Naxos. Is that where you were going to leave me? She rolls over on her side, takes off her sunglasses and grins at me. No, I wouldn't leave you, but in general, no, not the way I wanted. Oh shit. Now she's laughing. I'm sorry, Mark, I shouldn't have done that. I know it's ugly, but I just always know what you're thinking, and it's been so long since I've had anyone to tease, someone to be flippant with and just have fun with. I'm sorry? I smile and nod. I think I would forgive her everything if she would only look at me like that, and then the voice of all women are selfish fools reminds me of what women are capable of when they think they will be forgiven. No, Mark, I'm not like that. She says it softly and seriously. Damn, she's doing it again. I feel like she knows why I need to hear it and doesn't mind repeating it as often as I need to. Wait, am I reading it now? What's going on here? So I'm leaving the yacht on Naxos? No, I mean not unless you want to or you really need to. But you can if you want. I really like you here, but I wouldn't. Oh shit. You can stay as long as you want. She enjoys my stuttering too much. I take a deep breath. I was planning to stop there anyway to restock, and you might want to take some clothes. This is my story, and I'm sticking to it. What's the matter, sailor? Aren't you enjoying the view? She gets up and leans against the mast, posing like a glamorous girl. I stare and stare. She laughs, then gets serious again. You know I don't have any money or debit cards, and I don't know if I can get to my bank accounts from Naxos. I may not be able to pay you back, at least not right away. I pretend to think it over as I walk over to her. Well, maybe I can figure out a way for you to pay me back. I'm trying to keep a calm expression on my face, and I guess I'm succeeding. She has this look on her face. Oh no, not him. How are you doing with the knots? I ask, still with a serious face. She pulls away from me a little. What kind of nodes? There's a tremor in her voice that I hadn't noticed before. Sailor's knots. The Halcyon doesn't swim by itself, you know, and since you're here, you could help. I smile and she laughs and hits me on the arm. I've got you figured out, haven't I? I enjoy laughing at her for once. It looks like someone has been without light fun for too long. She smiles at me. We're sitting on the forward deck facing each other, and I'm starting to teach her some knots. It's still hot, although the sail shields us from the fierce Greek sun, so I take off my shirt. From time to time, we catch each other's eyes on us and smile. It's strange that someone who looks like her looks at me like that, but not so strange that I can't get used to it. It's been a long time since I've been so relaxed around a woman. We pull up the front sail more for training than for anything else. She is more athletic than I could have imagined, and watching her movements is a pleasure. I envy the whole waterfront when my guest in a bikini helps me moor on the Halcyon. She follows my instructions perfectly and looks like she's been doing this all her life. If I used to think she was just another brainless model, now I know better for sure. She pulls on my sweatpants and we head into town. Our first stop is at the bank, and as she feared, Anna cannot access the money in her accounts in Italy and Germany without an ID or debit card, so she makes purchases at my expense. My cynical self expects her to act like a stereotypical model and buy at least 2 things out of everything that catches her eye, so of course she doesn't. She buys some sundresses, some shorts and tops, and also asks my advice on which shoes to buy for her. Everything she buys is of good quality, but nothing glitters or catches the eye. I go to buy food and provisions while she is busy with her underwear, and we are both heavily loaded when we meet in the town square. As we left the docks, I watched with a grin as she sweated in my sweatpants in the midday heat. Now she's wearing a light sundress. She looks just great, and now it's her turn to laugh when I stare and stare while she drags me along. Of course, half of the male population of Naxos would like to be in my place. We get on board, pack our purchases, and relax for a moment. Anna looks at me seriously. Every time I think I'm getting used to her beauty, she looks at me differently, or behaves differently, and I'm stunned again. Thanks, Mark, she says. I have some savings, and I'll pay you back. Shouldn't you hold on to your savings until you find a job or something? Well, maybe, but I don't like being in debt to my friends. Her smile is soft and sweet. Her eyes are warm and gentle, and I panic. All this is happening too fast for me. We're friends, she repeats. Friends help each other, like you helped me last night, even when you didn't really want to. We both know she's right. Friends don't hurt each other, and no matter what happens, Mark, I'm not going to hurt you. Never. And you know, us, it's comfortable together. I tried to remember how long it had been since I was so comfortable with a man. No expectations, no pressure, just friends. I can't even remember when it was. You're comfortable with me too. There is one more thing. Do you know that I always seem to know what you're thinking? How can I read you? You're the only person I can do this with. Damn, I try to look disappointed. I was hoping that you could read everyone like that and we could rule the world. We laugh together and she looks at me for a while. So, friend, what are your plans for the evening? Well, friend, the word comes out before I can stop it, which surprises me, but it's the right word. I don't have the slightest idea. I am known as a man without a plan. Good, she says, smiling, because I have one and it's perfect. You will take me ashore to that pretty seafood place that we noticed, and we will have a wonderful dinner together. And then? And then we'll get back on board and I'll tell you the rest of the plan. We're going ashore to have dinner. The seafood place is not pretentious. For a moment, I wonder if Anna will think she's in a slum. I'm sure they've never had models before, not even exes. But obviously, many generations have lived here. It is clean and well-maintained, so I have high hopes for food. Of course, all eyes are on us when we enter the restaurant and are shown our table. I know Anna is used to it, but I'm not. She feels that I'm uncomfortable and snuggles up to me. It's all right, Mark. I don't mind them looking at you. I'm not jealous. We laugh as we sit. Fortunately, places like this don't mind if you loaf around for a couple of hours over dinner. In fact, they take it as a compliment. The owner came in a couple of times to tell us how much he liked us enjoying his food. If his real motive is to take a closer look at Anna, then so what? I can't blame him, and the food is delicious. There's something special about seafood that actually floated just a few hours ago. Most importantly, Anna enjoys it, and to my great surprise, so do I. Finally, we get up from the table. The owner and the waiter, son note 3, I believe, accompany us, and we stroll along the promenade before returning aboard the Halcyon. Anna is holding my hand. She doesn't say much. I don't say anything. We're on board. I walk up the gangplank and turn to her. She snuggles up to me, gives me the lightest kiss on the lips, and steps back. I can't tell if the sparkle in her eyes is a reflection of the lanterns on the shore, but she is, as always, irresistible. Thank you, she says softly, almost in a whisper. I can't remember the last evening I enjoyed so much. She turns away for a moment, to hide the tears. After a moment, she turns back to me, smiling slyly. So, are you ready to hear the rest of the plan? Of course, probably. She laughs. Are you sure? She winks and raises one eyebrow slightly. I remember hearing her voice earlier that day. Promise me you'll start living again, Mark. Okay, I'm ready. What can you offer? I put my hands on my hips in my best position of readiness for anything. Now I'm going to seduce you. My eyes get as big as saucers. My mouth opens. My arms drop to my sides. Seduce. You know, when I... And then you... She smiles at me like I'm some kind of slow-witted person, which is exactly how I feel. I gurgle something at her, and she giggles. Well, there's one part of you that knows what I'm talking about. Her gaze falls on the tent that suddenly appeared in my crotch. Oh, shit. She hasn't undone a single button, and I'm firmer than I can remember. Anna, I thought you didn't want to make love so soon after. I'm proud of myself for being able to say so much. Oh, don't worry, Mark, we're not going to make love. Huh? I think I say that a lot. We're going to make love. Serious eyes, a sweet smile, the warmth of her soul. I feel like I'm falling in love with her. Anna, you can have anyone you want. Why me? We're falling in love. Haven't you noticed? Panic rises in me again. Mark, I'm not Julia. I'll never be able to do to someone what she did to you. She says it softly, but seriously. I believe her. Without a word, she grabs my shirt and kisses me right on the lips. Damn, it feels good. It's almost magical. It's like I've never kissed a woman before. When we finally break our bond, I see that she is crying. And to my surprise, I feel that my eyes are wet too. Our connection is almost frightening. She stands up and I realize she's still holding my shirt tightly. She pulls me roughly after her, rushing towards my cabin. Then she pushes me onto the bed. I watch in awe as she starts dancing to some imaginary music and slowly takes off her newly bought summer dress. Underneath, she still wears the ubiquitous black bikini. Her toned body seems too good to be true. Then she slowly puts her hands behind her back and starts fiddling with the straps of her bikini. Oh my God, she's not going to lose that top either, is she? I held my breath as she started pulling on one of the straps until the knot loosened. She pulls the top over her head, and for the first time I see her breasts. Oh my God, they are certainly not huge, but they are so perfect. You are incredibly beautiful. She just smiles and slowly pulls the bottom of her bikini down. Its small landing strip becomes visible. Damn, that would be awkward, and that thought cools me down a little bit again. I come out of my reverie and begin to frantically undress. I'm still basking in the afterglow, trying to make sense of what just happened in my life. Why did this woman from the dream choose me? Because of my money? I can't think of any other reason. I suddenly raise my head and look at her. She was watching me too with a pleased expression on her face. No, Mark. No? Because I love you. Not because of your money. Don't get me wrong, of course, money makes life easier. But being with a man for his money is the last thing on my mind right now. That thought alone repels me. I'll sign any prenuptial agreement, no problem. A prenuptial agreement? Well, in case we ever get married, of course. You never know. She smiles cunningly, and after a few seconds, I have to laugh. It looks like my fate is already sealed. Well, it could have been worse. What, am I crazy? And even if this thought never crossed your mind, I take birth control pills and you're the first man I've been with without a condom. So you're safe. Oh my God, what an idiot I was. She laughs again, seeing my reaction. You're so sweet, Mark. Ah. Mark, we have to think about where we're going next. Well, the home port of this ship is Antibes. I'm not sure if that's what she was talking about. Good. Do you have a car there? Yes. Is it big? X5. Okay, this is one of those SUVs, right? We'll go to Milan from there if you don't mind. There we can pick up my things, the tattered remnants of my former life. Oh, of course. It's almost on its way to Germany anyway. Good. We're going to have a lot of fun. I have a job and I'm going to enjoy it. Your job? Yes, I have to convince this guy that good women exist. Oh, so you want to open it again for the female sex? What? Are you kidding? By no means, my reasons are purely selfish. I'm afraid I'm gawking rather boorishly. It's too good to be true. The 4 weeks it took us to return the yacht to Antibes can be called ideal. We also bask in the sun, eat delicious food, and visit various harbors. We are not talking about the future, divorces, diets, fashion, and the past. After arriving in Antibes, we pack up, clean the boat, and load everything into my car. After we have closed the boat, we look at each other, as it seems to us, with sadness. We both enjoyed our time together on this boat, and we are both afraid that now the cold reality will take us over again, that everything will change. We don't talk about it, but we already know each other well enough to understand it. The trip to Milan in Germany takes place in uncomfortable silence. After she ran away from that Brioni, I tried to stay as grumpy and quiet as I could, but now I want us to have something to talk about, to allay our fears, to relieve tension. I do not know what she is afraid of, but I'm afraid of losing her again. To be completely honest, I've completely fallen in love with her and I'm afraid of getting hurt again. We have been living in my apartment for about 4 weeks, but the spark somehow disappeared, replaced by a hidden tension. We like living together, we enjoy each other's company, but we are not as relaxed as on a yacht. I am seriously considering going back there in an attempt to save our crumbling relationship. I do not know what else I can do to stop this, and we both avoid this topic. Now we're watching some nonsense on TV, and I realize again how unattractive this program is. She snuggles up to me, resting her head on my shoulder, which is much more attractive. I'm seriously thinking about retiring to the bedroom to have some fun when the doorbell rings. Anna still refuses to open the door or answer the phone in my apartment, which is starting to annoy me because it shows that she is not quite at home here. Okay, Anna, I'll open it. Thanks. I open the door and see that my nightmare is standing there. Julia, dressed to the highest standard, beautiful evil incarnate. Oh, honey, you're finally here, she exclaims and rushes over to me. Disgusting. She doesn't mind that I don't reciprocate and just steps back watching me. My God, don't you look good? Do you often go out in the sun? It suits you. Thanks. Won't you invite me in? Please come in, Julia, I hear from behind me while I'm still thinking about how to get rid of her. Frowning, I step aside. Thanks. And you? Anna. I'm Julia. I know. What a strange conversation, I think, closing the door. Their voices are unexpectedly harsh. If their words were daggers, then the floor would be soaked in blood right now. Please have a seat, Julia. Thanks. I'm still silent. So you're Mark's friend? I'm his girlfriend. Are you getting paid for this? Are you asking if I'm selling myself for money? Well, honey, let's not be rude. You look very good. Mark is rich as hell. No, I'm sorry. I wouldn't want to interfere in your business. What? This is ridiculous. So you didn't marry him for his money? No, of course not. It was just a big misunderstanding during that ill-fated divorce. We belong to each other. I really love him. Me too. Honey, let's face it. Mark is a good guy, but he's not in our league in looks. That's why I don't believe for a second that you're here for love. Okay, honey, let's talk about leagues. I'm definitely not in yours. Oh, don't belittle yourself. I'm not understating it. You look decent, but I'm a model. Now let's talk about the brand. He is handsome, built like a brick house, honest, open, and caring. He's a godsend, 1 in a million. I'd be glad to catch him. If he had asked me, I would have married him in an instant. Really? I ask, completely stunned. You just need his money, you fool. No, I will gladly sign any prenuptial agreement. Really? I ask again. Of course, you idiot. What do you think I've been waiting for all this time? Why do you think I've been hanging by a thread since we left the yacht? And what? Mark, please don't. That stupid Anna is not right for you. You need me. I still can't believe my luck, but I slowly get up and move towards Anna. Anna. No, Mark, no need. Yes. Anna smiles from ear to ear. Anna, could you? Mark! Someone grabs my shoulder and tries to stop me. I barely notice it. I'm in a kind of daze, but I like it. It's kind of a dream come true. I understand that for 4 weeks I expected Anna to leave me forever since she returned to Germany. Can I really get it? It's unbelievable, damn it. Yes, I will. Anna, please marry me. Yes, I can't finish this damn sentence. No, Mark. Julia finally lets go of my shoulder and Anna jumps into my arms. Yes. Damn it, this can't be true. Mark, don't do this. Really? Will you do it? Yes, Mark, finally. I thought you'd never ask. I was so afraid. This time I silenced her by kissing her. Well, it looks like I'm not needed here anymore. Mark, I would be so good for you. Instead, you chose this fool and let her gut you. You're right, Julia. What? You're not needed here anymore. I'm glad you came. It's the best thing that could have happened to us. The best thing you've ever done for me. Julia, I wish you all the best. I've forgiven you. It doesn't matter anymore. But if you'll excuse us, we need to finish something. Anna, don't hurt him, okay? I won't. Not like me. Anna and I look at each other in surprise while Julia goes to her front door, and we go to the other, to the bedroom. I've definitely changed. I really have to thank Fulvio Brione and Julia for making this dream possible.